So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about this Axios article I found and what it relates to Starbucks and their anti-labor union push. And this one is curious. I have a lot of questions here. So the National Labor Relations Board called on Starbucks to reopen 23 stores that workers allege were shut in response to union organizing activities. And let's be clear here, shuttering stores is a sort of well-known, repetitive anti-union activity. People will shutter store companies like Walmart and others will shutter stores when they get any whiff of union organizing activities. And the most famous example of his, I mean, of course, it was pop culture, it was fake, but is in The Office when Jan threatens to shut down the Dunder Mifflin branch because there was some whiff of unionization in the warehouse, if you're familiar with it. So anyway, moving on to this, the National Labor Relations Board has called on Starbucks to immediately reopen 23 stores. They filed a complaint. The National Labor Relations Board Seattle Regional Office filed a complaint, a unfair labor practice charge, and here it is. Here, this is. You can take a look at it. It's addressed directly to Howard Schultz and has Howard Schultz's email into it. I am curious why they wrote number of employers or number of workers employed, which is 500. So they're alleging that the employer violated the act when it closed the stores and it threatened to not allow unionized workers to transfer or borrow to other stores until effective bargaining was completed. Now, these workers have signed union cards, but I don't believe they're technically. I mean, they have no contract with the company at this point because ultimately that's where this would be managed, and so they're upset that these employees weren't able to go to other stores after their store was shut down. And it sounds like this is a common practice within Starbucks that if a store shuts down, you get loaned out or you get moved around such that you can continue to be working. And Starbucks didn't do that. And that's probably an unfair labor practice charge, just from the little facts that we have here. If you are shutting down stores and your normal non-unionized workforce, it gets to go elsewhere and you don't allow the union workforce to go on, that's probably an unfair labor practice, although we don't know a whole lot. I really wanted to touch on this reopening stores piece. So to be clear here, some of those stores were not unionizing at all. They were just simply shut down for whatever reason, lack of profits or lack of potential profits, et cetera, et cetera. According to Starbucks, they opened hundreds of new stores and shut over 100, and 3% of those that were shut were unionized. That's probably a bit high. If I had to guess, the unionized stores in the Starbucks network is probably not more than 1%, and even that it's probably high. And so maybe that they were overrepresented to a degree. But I wanted to touch on reopening. I couldn't find, I've been searching and spending a lot of time trying to look for a scenario in which the National Labor Relations Board has forced a company to reopen its stores that it's previously shuttered, and I couldn't find it. There are a lot of cases where the National Labor Relations Board has indicated or found businesses guilty of unfair labor practices for shuttering those stores, but they generally come with fines. They don't come with the store reopened. But this Axios article alleges that's exactly what the National Labor Relations Board is looking for. And that, to me, strikes a little bit strange. Some of these could have very well been unfair labor practices, but there's another side where the business has to operate stores that it finds profitable and has or potential for profit, and making these distinctions and forcing a company to open and operate a store by the federal government feels a little bit weird to me, and that's what I'm bringing out today. I imagine that the penalty probably should look more like fines or some sort of other restitution, but forcing a business to operate when it doesn't want to operate is a kind of another thing altogether. You're seeing that with Chick-fil-A right now, where there is some indications that in a few states the government wants them to work on Sundays based on agreements, etc. And I also feel a little bit weird about that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.